I can't decide what deck I want to play in this current format. And I feel like that's gotta be at least somewhat a relatable problem to have, because there are just so many options. How do you know you're choosing the right one? But I've at least narrowed it down to these three. Festival Lead, Slotbox, and Hydrapple. They're up on screen, you can see them. And I'm hoping that the way I solved the problem myself can be applied to the way you might be struggling to decide what deck to play, because really there are too many options. So here is the process I went through, and probably a process that will work for you. Look at that cool transition. Here is a meta call and just pros and cons meta-wise for why I should or should not play them. Now this is a good decider, because if you have like any amount of decks that you think are equally fun and you would be okay with playing any of them, you should just choose the one that has the best meta call advantages or whatever. So, here with Festival Lead, it wins against everything that isn't spread damage or Excadrill, but it auto-loses to all those things listed, which is around 30% of the meta in online tournaments. And my final verdict for that is that it's good for locals, because nobody plays Pull or Grimity Snarl, but it's not good for bigger tournaments because people play those things. And it also suffers from inconsistency, but so does every other deck I'm considering playing. Look at that cool transition. And then Slotbox is more of a traditional meta call. The deck was made to be a meta call, but yet it kind of fails at that. It wins against everything except one prizers and Hydrapple, but like everyone plays one prizers and Hydrapple at my locals. I mean, like, ignores that I'm the only person I've ever seen playing Hydrapple, but yeah. It loses to every one prizer, there are a lot of them, so it just doesn't really work for smaller tournaments. It would probably do well at majors, because people play Pult quite a bit, but for locals and smaller tournaments, it probably won't work out that well. And as I wrote here, it's not good for locals, because everyone in their 38th cousin 93 times removed plays one prizers. Look at that cool transition. Hydrapple's the only one of these three that I've actually played in a tournament before. It's good because its only really bad matchups are Pult, Beedrill, Festival Lead, and Zam. But depending on the context, actually in most contexts, at least one of those is going to be popular. Either you're at majors, where Pult is common, or you're at locals, where Festival Lead and Alakazam are common. So it's okay, but there's not really a situation where it excels. It's kind of the middle ground between Festival Lead and Slotbox. There are bad matchups in both contexts for majors and locals, but the bad matchups are spread evenly between them, so it can do okay in both contexts. It's a nice middle ground. It's a good deck to main if I'm planning to go to a lot of majors, but also to play a lot of locals. I'm planning to mainly do locals, so maybe I should just play Festival Lead, but we'll get to that. Final verdict, it's good for locals, but not as good as Festival Lead matchup-wise, but it's more consistent from my experience, leading it to being equally good in my mind. Also, I went 4-2 with it at the tournament I played it, so that was cool. I literally started playing the deck that day, so that proves that it can function and it can do well. Look at that cool transition. The final verdict, it is a tie. Hydrapple and Festival Lead are both good enough to go at least 4-2 matchup-wise. Actually, I wrote down all the matchups I fought at the tournament I played Hydrapple. I gotta check that real quick. I can probably take a look at how good Festival Lead probably would have done in that. Yeah, if I were to be playing Festival Lead instead of that tournament, it probably would have gone around the same, because I fought Pult twice and every other matchup was relatively favored. And due to the heightened inconsistency of Festival Lead and more needing to go your way for Gladion to function, Hydrapple, despite having worse matchups, is as good as, if not better than Festival Lead to me. Slotbox is fun, but I'm not going to be going to majors often, and when or if I do, I won't be practiced in it, and I'm probably going to go with something I'm more familiar with that just loses to Pult. Because the only major I went to so far, I fought a grand total of 2 Dragapults the whole thing. So if that doesn't decide it, we're going to the lightning round. First off, Hydrapple's easier to play and I'm more experienced with it. As in, I have 2 hours of experience as compared to 1 in 9/10. So I'm more biased towards it. And also, I don't want to learn how to play Gladion. Why can't we just go back to Black Belt? Fun fact, in the Master Ball League in Indonesia, there was a Festival Lead list in the top 30 that didn't run any Gladion, instead of going with 2 Black Belts. If I play Festival Lead, I am almost definitely doing that, or at least running 1 Black Belt and 1 Gladion or something. I hate how situational having no cards in hand can be when you just draw things that can't be thinned out of the hand, or just draw another Gladion and have to decide whether it's worth being locked out of Gladion for the rest of the game, or Lily Deading to shuffle back into the deck, but then you just draw Gladion again. What if that happens? And I'm just not a fan of that possibility. Yes, I'm just salty that that happened to me one time. Hydra Apple is easy to play and has no such controversy. It can do a lot of damage, and most games, that's all you need. Look at that transition. This would make it seem like this choice is a no-brainer. It, in fact, is not. Festival Lead having a better matchup spread, despite it being worse in every other case, still makes it impossible to choose, because what if I exclusively play against Alakazam and I'm playing Hydra Apple? That just wouldn't be fun. In the end, it comes down to trying out both and seeing which one is more fun, or wins more, depending. And just play a few tournaments with experiments of decks, because if you don't do that, you can't play at full power in the future. If you want to play the best deck because it's the best, you can do that, but it's still good to be open to more options, because if you haven't tried everything, there are things you haven't tried. Thank you for listening to my TED Talk. But anyways, that's going to be all for now. I'll see you in the next one. I don't know, comment which deck I should make like a guide on, because that seems like a fun idea that I could do. But yeah, I'll see you then.